This was a great episode in my eyes because not only did Gon and Killua progress in their training and their learning, but it was a story of redemption for Binolt. Really, really good. Hunter x Hunter, episode 63. A hard master.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters and little girls that are actually old women and hunters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and action-packed video game trodden tale of Hunter x Hunter. Now, our last episode really, of course, saw us with Gon and Killua heading towards Macedora, but really it was finding out that this game is a little bit tougher than they think, and that they really are just not fully equipped with their abilities to kind of handle it yet. And it's kind of been a theme for them throughout the series. They get to a point and it's like, we're really just not strong enough now. We need to learn something new or take something to the next level to become stronger. And actually, and even too, like in the York New City arc, it was a little frustrating because they never really did much of anything. And I really just want to see Gon and Killua start to come into their own with some of their abilities and really just kind of beat some ass, to be honest with you. So anyway, the episode ended off, though, with that little girl who we actually found out is an older woman. Just looks very young, and her name is Biscuit, Biscuit Kruger. And that's how the episode ended off, with her appearing and basically being like, hey, and talking to them a little bit, presumably about training. That's right where things pick up, and this was actually, it was a great episode. I really enjoyed it. There was a lot of action. There was a great subplot going on with this character Binolt and kind of a background and brief history of him. It was just wonderfully done, start to finish. Things start out with her basically offering to train them, to teach them, and so they can learn more about their powers and they can evolve further. And Killua was like, nah, we're cool, leave us alone, we're fine. And Gon's like, yeah, you know, Wing is already our teacher. And she's like, Wing? You mean the little guy with the glasses and always forgets to tuck his shirt in? And they're like, what, you know him? And she goes, yeah, I'm Wing's master. So technically she's their master's master anyway. Anyway, they grudgingly wind up going and kind of taking her or accepting her help and realizing that, hey, listen, this is a big world and this is a difficult game. And because she brings up a couple examples like that really fast ball thing that was moving around in the last episode they couldn't even catch. That's basically like a nonsensical, like average type of thing you would find in the game, and they couldn't even capture it or defeat it, right? So anyway, she all of a sudden senses a presence, right? It's actually this Binolt, and he kind of looks like this weird, he's got the pale Hisoka face as far as like the clown look to him and everything, but he's got these jagged looking teeth and he's got these scissors, and he really just kind of looks like, he looks like a pedophile. He looks like the type of guy that you see on the evening news and they're like, you know, this guy is alleged to be the one that kidnapped these kids or raped these women. Stay away from him, or if you have any news to his whereabouts, please call this number. That's what this guy looks like. Anyway, she senses him, Biscuit, and she says actually to call her Bisky, so we'll call her Bisky, I guess. So Bisky senses him, and Gon and Killua didn't even sense him. But anyway, and she says, just act like everything's normal. You're going to go north. I'm going to go south to kind of draw him out and get him to attack me. I want you to, when you hit 500 meters, conceal your presence, use your Zetsu, come back, and then, you know, and obviously rush back here, right? So they go and do this, and she slaps the shit out of Killua, and she's just playing it out and acting up like they had a fight, and then they're going to leave, right? And Killua was like, damn old hag. And I love the little banter that goes on between those two. It's funny. So they go and walk away. She goes over her way. When they come back upon her, she's in like this kind of crater or whatever, and some of her hair has been cut off by this guy Binolt. And with his scissors, and he's just kind of this weird, again, kooky, pedophile-ish like looking clown. And anyway, part of his power is something about when he takes your hair, he eats it, and then he goes and he can find out all this shit about you. So as he goes and finds out about her, he finds out that she's 57 years old, that she has basically this rockin', tight, toned, like, body underneath, and not so much in a sexual manner, but basically just in like a, hey, I've trained very hard, you know, my body is my temple type of deal, right? And she's going to be formidable. So he winds up challenging her to a duel, right? To a battle. She whips his ass. I mean, hands down, it was great. And what I like about this is the way some of the action's depicted. It's the side view, and as he goes to come at her, she just goes and straight up grabs him, twists him, lifts him up off the ground, whips him down, and smashes him. Dude didn't even have a chance, and she didn't even use her nen. That's how powerful this chick is, right? So looks can be deceiving, especially in this world, you know? But anyway, what she winds up doing is telling him basically, here's the deal. You're going to go, and for 2 weeks, if you can dodge, you know, Gon and Killua from them actually landing a blow on you or connecting with you, right? I'll I'll let you go. However, if you try to run away, I'll kill you. If you leave the crater, I'll kill you. And if you get attacked by them, or you don't successfully evade them, I'll kill you, right? So he's like, all right, well, he's got like no other choice, right? Gon and Killua, they basically get the same set of rules. They got to try to attack him and try to evade his attacks and, of course, land an attack on him. And it's going to be this like 2-week rigorous training, you know? And it's actually really cool because it's a life or death type of thing. And this is the part of the episode that really played well for me and that I really liked. This is the part where I feel like they're starting to mature and Gon and Killua are starting to come into their own and learn more about Nen and more about their abilities and how to use them in conjunction. Because what winds up happening is ultimately, after about a half a day, they're able to wear the guy down enough to where he's pretty much just out of breath and he needs to kind of recover. But anytime they get within a few feet of him, he's still swiping at him with his scissors, right? Deadly sharp, you know, and he's fast with the blades. So Killua says, Gon, you rest for 6 hours, and I'll basically just distract him by throwing rocks at him, like these pebbles, you know, to keep him off balance and whatnot, and then we'll switch every 6 hours. Gon's like, what a great idea, you know, to distract him this net using a distance attack. So Gon goes over and just mans up and just punches this fucking wall with his awesome magical punch that he does, right? That impact punch that reminds me of like Uvo's thing, and breaks a bunch of boulders up that are like his size. He grabs one, turns and jumps at this dude, flies at him, and uses it as a frickin' shield. This guy can't cut you with a knife if you got a boulder in front of you, a rock, right? Killua's like, great idea. He does the same thing. Now they both start going and jumping around on him, throwing boulders at him. Now they're using a tactical advantage that he's only good in close, right? And he's already wounded from, obviously from Biscuit kicking his ass, and he's fighting two people, but obviously they're these untrained kids. And it's cool to see as things go on. Towards the end of the first day, they're able to wear him down enough to where Killua actually gets the drop on him and is about to take his ass out. You know, he's like, yeah, done for you, time for you, old man, to be done. Gon tells him to stop, right? And Killua's like, why? Gon goes, it'd be a waste if we took him out now. Killua agrees, and it makes perfect sense. Oh boy, you two guys were able to wear down a wounded man over the course of a day. Big deal. Gon says, let's keep training and working at it until we can take him out by ourselves and with more ease, right? At one point, he winds up cutting Killua's face, you know, this guy, and winds up actually getting a hit in on him. Binolt does. And Killua was like, man, if he was at full strength, he would have taken out my eye on that one. So this is their point for me to see. They're seeing that it's a bigger world and there's many, many people that are much stronger than them out there. The whole story was great, though, because this Binolt, who starts out to be this despicable pedophile-like character, he has a flashback as he's starting to kind of wear down, and they actually agree at night to not attack each other so they can rest and shit. And they actually show this guy compassion, right? They could just keep on him until he's dead. But they go and they say, hey, listen, you go ahead and take a rest, man. You're slowing down anyway. Get some rest. We'll pick this up tomorrow. And Bisky's watching the whole thing from up top of the crater, you know, on the outside of it, and she's putting rocks down for each day that they're out there, and they're training in the rain. It's like the montage that you get from any type of action movie where the main character is like learning new skills and training for the big fight, whatever, right? However, the thing that's cool about it is you see a flashback of this Binolt when he's a kid. And he looks like he was maybe like poor or homeless, whatever. He looks like this little dirty child. And he winds up going and finding a wallet on the street, and about 50 feet away from him there's a man and a woman, and the woman's talking about she lost her wallet, and he comes up to go to hand it back to him, right? All of a sudden they both turn and look at him, and they get this look of evil and the devil at him, and probably assume that he tried to steal it or that he wanted a reward for it or whatever. And then as he goes back into the flashback a second time, you see that the kid's laying on the ground beaten and bloodied and bruised. They took the wallet back, so maybe they accused him of stealing it or whatever. And there's an actual scissors sitting next to him, you know. And whether they used that to cut him or it just happened to be something that fell out of her purse, I don't know. But that's where the significant point came in. And what it's trying to show is that everybody, no matter how damaged they are, for the most part starts out to be somewhat normal. You know, people start out and for the most part we're inherently good. Think about when you're a kid. Everything is all about what you can do to help others and to be good to others and to do things. There's very few people out there that as a small child are just evil and hurtful and harmful to others. There's exceptions to every rule, but the majority, so bear with me on this now. But a lot of people, something or another happens or a series of events happen during the course of their life that traumatizes or maybe changes their outlook or perspective on life. maybe someone who has a parent or a loved one that gets lost or killed, or they lose a loved one is what I meant to say, and they get killed in a car crash, or a disease takes them or something like that. That person maybe grows up and thinking a little bit differently, and then a series of other events take place, being ridiculed for this or that in high school or whatever. And then you go and you see that then as an adult, that person maybe is an introvert, or maybe is just completely antisocial, maybe lacks some of the skills to go out into the real world to date or to whatever, to be a normal person. And then in a small percentage of those people, it seems like they wind up taking a turn for the worse, and some people become deviants and do things that are, and I'm not trying to be a Dr. Phil here, or, you know, I'm not trying to write the book. It's all common sense stuff that you see and you know, in the world today. But I thought it was neat because this character Binolt started out, and I wanted to fucking strangle him and punch his teeth in. And by the end of the episode, towards the end of it, when finally he got to the point after these flashbacks and everything, that he just kind of gave up, right? I mean, he had been fighting them for days now. You know, I don't know if they went the full 2 weeks. The last stone I saw put down was about a week or so. But anyway, he basically said, just kill me. I'm done, you know? And Gon's like, why would we kill you, right? And all this guy wanted in his flashback, he didn't want a reward for that wall or anything. He just wanted some gratitude, right? Just somebody to be like, hey, thanks. And what was cool is it came full circle in such a short amount of time, in just one episode. And Gon went and he goes and he bows to him and he says, thank you, Binolt. Thank you. You know, for training with him and everything else. Even though he was forced to do it, and even though they started out as him trying to go and take advantage of and kill what he thought were kids, it's cool to see like that come full circle. And then he kind of goes and he throws down his little thing of knives, his belted knives. He's like, I'm going to go turn myself in, because he's a bounty hunter, but he actually has a bounty on him as well. And Biscuit knew all that stuff. But the moral of the episode is that people can change. People can change. What was once good can become bad, but you can become good again. You can always come back. You can always make the choice to come back. And trust me, because I've been the asshole before, but you can always come back, you know, and that's what I took from it. The rest of the episode was great, and all the action when they were fighting was just depicted so well. I mean, there's a lot to be said for Madhouse and for what the studio has actually done. It's just absolutely phenomenal. But anyway, they wind up going to Macedora, which is 70 kilometers away. Binolt winds up parting ways with them, but Biscuit, Gon, and Killua, and she's like, we'll make it in 3 hours. So they somehow just can go chucking through the mountains and forests and everything else, 70 kilometers away, right? And then they go to some shop, she buys some cards or whatever. They go and they run all the way back to that cratery area, and she uses the cards, and it's like a wheelbarrow and a couple of shovels. Then it's the next part of the training. This is the part of the training that's very much like the Karate Kid. You never understood while he was having Daniel's son, wax on, wax soft, wax on, wax soft, right? But then it all played up at the end, and it was teaching him the movements and strengthening his arms and his hands in those particular movements, right? Same type of thing here. She goes and tells them, we're going back to Macedora, but we're going to go in a straight line. So they got to cut through a bunch of these freaking hills and plateaus and everything else. And as she puts them through this rigorous kind of montage of training, what winds up coming out of it is they learn a new technique where they actually use their nen, their aura, to surround not just themselves, but the actual shovel they're holding too, and it makes it easier to dig into rock. It makes it like digging into pudding, they say. The thing that I liked about it is that the episode ends with her talking about how they're going to be ready soon and they've completed the first stage and everything else. But the bottom line that I took from it is, number one, they grew a lot as characters, and of course the story with Binolt was very good and very touching, and I thought that was a story of redemption as well as them learning things. But not only that, but now it's not about them digging a hole straight through to Macedora. It's about them learning how to, number one, work well together, and number two, how to be able to expand upon their powers to make their job easier, right? So now learning this surround technique means that they can now pick up a weapon or something that can be an extension of them and their aura, and that's what I liked about it. So the episode ends off over there, and really, this Biscuit character is actually pretty cool, man. I really kind of like her, and I think that I'm gonna enjoy her in the story here going forward, at least for as long as she's in this arc or in this story. So my episode question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is what was your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the story with Binolt? Leave your answer to that question in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation.
Please subscribe to my other channels and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.